Many of my clients say, where's my tribe? Where's my family? Where's my partner? Where's my bestie? Where's my best friend? What is my mission? What is my destiny? Why do I feel unfulfilled? Why do I feel so damn lonely? This may be a little long, but stick with me because you need to hear this. This will heal you and give you a greater understanding of why you're here during this time in history. There's 5 reasons, and it affects 3 different parts of our life. It affects our connection with our family, it affects connection with friends, and it affects our connection with our career. Ultimately, a connection with ourselves. Number 1, the industrial age. This happened in the late 1800s to the early 1900s and became very strong in the 50s and the 60s. You have to remember that throughout our entire history of mankind, we're talking thousands, hundreds and thousands of years, we have needed each other. We've needed each other for food, for clothing, to build homes, to work together as a community, to survive, to heal, to physically support each other in our health, in our wealth, from birth to death. And many of us, almost all of us, there'd be the odd one that would be secluded and wanting to live off the grid, away from their village and away from their society. But most of us, whether we liked it or not, we partaked in an intimate relationship with a large city or a small village. But historically, we needed each other. We had no choice. So think about it. If you had a relationship with a childhood friend, your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your sister, you wouldn't just be stuck in a home, being raised by them, really not interacting with anyone else. You would see your mother and your father not just as your mother and your father, or your sister or your brother, not just as your sister and your brother. You would see how they would interact with their community, with their job, how they would support their neighbor, or maybe how they wouldn't support their neighbor. But you would see them. You would get to know them. You would get to understand them, whether it be negative or positively, not just by the relationship that you solely had with them, but by witnessing them in the relationship within your environment, in your atmosphere, in conjunction with your entire life. And of course, we all know that we change. You know yourself, whether you're 30, 40, 50, or 60, you know how much you have changed throughout your life. And anyone who has known you all those years has seen all of those gradual changes. If you change negatively, they're going to understand why, because they've known you your whole life. They've seen you interact not just with them, but within the community as well. And if you've changed for the better, they can also say, hey, this is a different person. I've seen how she's changed. I've seen how he has worked with the community and in the environment. He's come, he's gone, he's come back. And I feel closer and more connected to them because of that experience. But we do not have that anymore. That's number 1. That's the industrial age. And number 2, that's community and village and connection through witnessing each other within that community. Number 3, we don't need each other anymore. I don't need you to build my house for me. I will hire strangers to do that for me. In fact, I'll hire companies who are strangers, and they'll hire strangers to build my house. And I'll never even witness them building it. I won't be a part of them building it, most likely. I will just show up and buy it and purchase it. Or maybe I'll buy and purchase a house that you have already lived in that somebody else has built. And you'll be a stranger to me as well. Most likely a stranger or somebody I really don't know is going to help me buy that house. I also don't need anybody to support me in doing my laundry, cleaning my home, buying my groceries. I'm not going to grow my groceries. I am not going to purchase them from my neighbor or anybody down the street. I'm going to buy them from strangers, and those strangers also bought my groceries, the food that's going to feed me and my children, from strangers as well too. There is no connection. I don't need you. You don't need me, so to speak. Not on a personal level, not in a community. Number 4, whether you have children or not, people are going to raise my children. They're going to teach my children or my nephews or my nieces. And I don't really know who you are either. I don't know the teachers. I don't know the neighbors. I don't really know the coach. I don't know the neighbors that are working and interacting with my children, my children's friends. I probably won't even really get to know who the parents are. The parents' family are dynamic. Won't spend a lot of time with them on a regular basis. I might know them from a distance. I might know of them, but I'm really not going to be embracing their life, nor will they embrace my life. So there's a disconnect as well. We can pretend that we know exactly what our children's lives are all about, and we can have their friends over, and we can let them go over to their friends, but they are not part of our village, they are not part of our family, and they're not a part of our community, and we have not spent many, many years with them. Now, that's a generalization. You may have the odd person listening to this that says, oh, no, I know so-and-so, and I hang out with their family. We've done so many things together. We've done potlucks and baseball, and we've put together events for years and decades even, but that's very rare. And 5, this has been happening for the last 3 to, I'd say, 10 to 15 years. There's a complete disconnect. We're judging each other. We don't trust each other. There's fear. There's difference of opinions. There's political views. There's medical and society views. There's different views of choices that you make and choices that I make. And there's trust that I can't probably talk to you about those choices because you may disengage with me before we even have a chance of engaging. And you're probably doing the same thing to me as well. So this fear and this judgment or fear of judgment and difference of opinion is creating a divide. Some of it is quite silent, that you're quite unknown to how that's being subjected upon you through media, etc. And some of it you may be quite aware of as well. But there's that disconnect. So, for example, I'm going to give you an example. I'm Canadian. We haven't usually had strong political views in Canada. We're not known for that, but we have been recently. But I had mentioned a person an event that I went to that involved a very, very famous person. And the person I was talking to about it said, oh, well, if you're talking about him, then I could care less if he fell off the face of this earth because he's useless and worthless to me. I was like, did you even, I wasn't even engaging or convincing them to like this person or not like that person. I just said, hey, I went to this event and it was about so-and-so. And didn't even ask what's my opinion, what's my thoughts, or why did you go, or that was cool, or what's your opinion, or an attack and a judgment. And I didn't take it personally. This is like my dearest, dearest friend. But that's the climate that she lives in. And therefore, it created a disconnect between us two because I'll probably never bring it up again because her opinion is so strong. I don't want to hurt her feelings or upset her or bring it up again. But I wonder, why are we doing that to each other? And that's a big no-no as well. So this is why we're lonely. This is why we're sad. This is not because you don't have a best friend, because you don't have a tribe, because you don't have a partner, because you're not as close to your parents as you would like to be, or you're not as close to your kids as you wish to be, which is all true. But it's because of all these events that are happening. We can't, it would be artificial. It would be fake. That we're not in the environment or the atmosphere in order to cultivate these types of normal, healthy, even unhealthy relationships. We have not dedicated or designated a natural amount of time with each other. Organically, it hasn't happened. The closest that we can get to it is in a work environment. If you work in an office work environment, we work quite closely problem solving and designing how the work schedule is and convincing and talking and getting to know Sally who works over there and George that works over here and whatnot. That's probably the closest we'll ever get to it. Hence, and this has been proven, why there's so many office romances. Not to mention how unhealthy we are physically, mentally, and psychologically. And let's not even go down that rabbit hole, how that's happening to us constantly on a daily basis. And remember, this is a Western affliction. This is not all over the world. But many countries are becoming more and more westernized. Industrial and technology, including media and consuming. And most of us have come here in this lifetime to change it, to alter it, to shift it. Will we see this in our lifetime? Probably not. But we are creating a new future by acknowledging the problem.